Good afternoon. We're back.
Hello. Woohoo. Happy to be in this seat again.
I know. You can tell it's your car. There's a car seat in the back. It's not my car.
Yes, that's true. Bennett seat.
Bennett seat. My favorite buddy.
Yes. This is exciting. We're back on the road for our Tombstone tourism.
Yes.
I'm excited. We took a little break there for a minute because we had Street Fest and we had a couple other things going on at the museum, which has been exciting.
I think you becoming director might have affected that a little bit.
A little bit. Took a little bit more of my time in other directions, but that's okay. This is the fun stuff. So.
Well, since I told everybody your job, why don't you tell everybody who you are? In case they haven't seen us.
If you haven't seen us and this is your first video, I'm Amy Reed, Museum Director for the Marietta Museum of History, and this is...
Christa McKay, the museum's collections manager. So we are on a awesome tour throughout the cemeteries of Cobb County.
Yes.
And here comes a choo-choo. If you haven't watched, we do have them available on our Facebook page, but we also have them available on the museum's YouTube channel, which is type in Marietta Museum of History, you'll get them. We have been working our way through the directions given to us by Sarah Temple. Thank you. You could take that one. Which are 90 years old. That book right there.
Yes, right here.
First 100 years of Marietta and Cobb County. So today we are actually heading back to Smyrna. This might be one of our last ones in Smyrna. Because
we have gone to a lot of
we
them in
have.
Smyrna.
There's a few we haven't because they're on private property and we just haven't gotten permission yet. So this is actually the new cemetery in Smyrna. Feel free to read the directions.
Where is it? There are no directions.
I know.
You're just supposed to know. You just go to Smyrna and look for the new cemetery.
New cemetery.
1936.
No, this is 1930-31 because remember this is published in 36.
Oh, so when she's going around 30-31. Okay.
Yeah.
So
okay. We use another book. I have a second book. It's called Cobb County, Georgia Cemeteries, Volume 1. It's a big one. This is it. This was published in the 80s. So if we couldn't get directions from Sarah, we are not going to GPS. We're going to this book. And it says, located in land lot 591, District 17. I mean, I know that off the top of my head. On Hawthorne Street in Marietta. Well.
In Marietta?
Oh, no, Smyrna. My bad.
I was like, what?
There's a new street in Marietta. Didn't you know?
Hawthorne.
Hawthorne.
Okay. Hawthorne Street in Smyrna.
Yes. So we're going to take this information, this Hawthorne Street information, combine it with what Sarah says in the beginning of her tour, or of her driving tour, that she starts in the Marietta Square, and in order to get to Smyrna, she heads down, I think she calls it does she call it Atlanta Road? Or does she call it the Marietta Smyrna Highway?
Oh yeah, I think she calls the Marietta Smyrna Highway.
Which we know as Atlanta Road.
Yes.
So we are going to head down Atlanta Road, find Hawthorne Street.
We're just going to keep driving till we find Hawthorne Street.
Which you and I have experienced Smyrna enough. I think we know where we're going.
Don't. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Gone.
Don't worry. I do know where we're going. But yeah, so you guys will do it'll be a drive for us, but a fast one for you because you're going to see it zipped up.
Yay.
Zipping down the street. And our editor will put some music to it.
Great.
Yes. So if you're ready, we're going to take a quick journey to Smyrna.
Let's do it. Let's go.
We can't go right now, though. There's a train.
Well, I can back out. I can get out of the parking lot.
Get out of the parking lot. Yes.
Okay.
So we'll see you in a second. All right. We made it. Did you enjoy that journey?
I did.
It
wasn't bad traffic. It was a nice drive. Very nice drive from downtown Marietta. Very easy to get to. Straight shot down Atlanta Road.
Yep.
Turn left on Hawthorne, cross over the railroad tracks, go down about a mile maybe. And it's on the left. Very easy.
It is on the left. So
yes.
You can see part of the cemetery behind us. We're not going to walk the full thing. Amy, if you don't mind holding this for a second. No, hold that one for me.
Got it.
I'm going to pan a little bit to the area we're not going to be walking through. So, there's your kin, the Reeds.
Oh, yeah. Well, not really, but, you know.
Kin by marriage, maybe. Who knows?
I don't think so, but you never know.
But if you guys can see, it goes like way back down that way in the shadows. So yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot in this cemetery. It is a. It kind of reminds me, if you ever watched way back one of our first ones, Collins Springs.
Yes.
Big, open, beautiful cemetery. So the reason there's a Smyrna Memorial, which we have done, and a new Smyrna Memorial is rather small. Do you remember walking that one?
Oh yeah, it's landlocked.
Yeah,
really.
it's very
it can't
tiny.
Really expand because it's right in downtown, the little area near the village, Smyrna Village
Right.
area.
Right across the Atlanta Road from the museum and what was Aunt Fanny's Cabin restaurant. So yeah, so there wasn't a lot of space. So this cemetery, there is documentation of a group of men creating, in essence, like a board of directors or a consortium to create a new cemetery, which around 1890.
Okay.
And then they kind of renew the contract. So this is not maintained by the city or anything that I'm aware of, but it is mowed. Obviously, we've walked around, and it's the grass is kept up. But of course, there are some broken stones. There are stones that need to be cleaned. But if we ever get to a cemetery outside of maybe the National Cemetery where there aren't stones that are broken or need to be cleaned,
shocked.
I'd be shocked. Shocked. Because it's not an easy job.
It's not, and it's constant maintenance, just like in your own yards and your house. You got to constantly maintain, especially when you have old trees all around, old growth.
Yes.
You're going to have branches falling, and unless you're paying somebody to weekly come up to the cemeteries, which many are not, then yeah.
So this cemetery's got its history in the 1890s area of time frame. So this one, which is kind of tucked back by the fence line, near some houses. This is the first one I wanted to show because, again, it's just an interesting story. Here it is.
It is.
It's hard to read, but that is Wadus Brooks.
Yes.
Wadeus.
Do you want me to read what
Can
it
you
says?
read it, please?
I can. It says, well, at the top, "Come ye blessed." That's a Holy Bible with a cross. There's some pearly gates.
That's right.
Then Wadus Brooks, born January 2nd, 1906, killed by elevator, May 23rd, I believe, 1924, age 18. 18 years, 4 months, 21 days. The oldest son of Richard and Adeline Brooks.
Yes.
And I believe there's something on the back too.
Is there something on the back? Did you?
Is it? Yes, there is.
Sorry, I didn't mean to kick you guys.
Oh boy, this is gonna be hard though. Yeah, I can't remember.
Here, you want me to take a
Sure.
a gander
Remember something.
Here, I'll switch.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, that is one. I think you're right on remember. But yeah, I would need, so on a stone like this, if I had some equipment with me, a great way to try and read stones like this is some sort of reflective mirror or something, and then a flashlight. Or if we could catch the sunlight, but we're kind of in the shadows, so it wouldn't work really well. But that's
a nice trick.
Some people have used which please do not do it, shaving cream. Please don't use shaving cream. It is super acidic to the stone, so don't do that. Chalk is not good either, so don't use chalk. You could do the paper rubbing method too, but yeah. Oh, and it actually says Brooks on this side too.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't realize that, but I don't have my stuff to clean, so I can't read it.
That's okay. I think it looks like it's some sort of a passage.
It does look like, yeah,
from
definitely.
the Bible, maybe.
So let me get his little story out.
Let's hear about Wadus and the elevator.
I know.
It's tragic.
It is.
But it is fascinating to me when people put the cause of death on a tombstone. It just really makes them stand out.
Yes.
You know?
So I do actually have the article, crushed to death. Elevator worker crushed to death. Pinned between the elevator and the first floor, W.M. Brooks, 18 years old, operator at the 101 Marietta Street office building in Atlanta, met death late Friday afternoon. He was found by H.W. Caldwell, who gave the alarm, and they were able to, with the firefighters, extract the body. There were no eyewitnesses to the accident, and so they never actually find out what happened, But it says here, police were unable to determine whether he suffered an attack of heart trouble and fainted while the car was coming up, or whether it was in motion while he was attempting to enter. So I'm not sure if he got stuck between the elevator and the first, like, I mean, it says crushed. So unfortunately, he's survived by his father, mother, 8 sisters, and 3 brothers.
Wow.
So he was the oldest of 12.
Wow.
And actually the family's on the other side, and when we get over there, we'll make mention. But I do have a picture.
Oh, yeah, good. Yep, stay right there. Oh, bless his heart. Sweet looking boy.
And I'll show you guys this book in a little bit when we move over. We have a book about the history of Smyrna, kind of in the mid-20th century. That's kind of a recollections of Marietta, or I keep saying Marietta, Smyrna. Smyrna's its own city. Smyrna. And the family actually lived in the area where Village Green is now.
Oh, okay.
So their property was over in that area, and the city of Smyrna bought it from the estate once the parents died. So that not too far, like a stone's throw from here. So that's where he grew up, was over in that area.
Okay. Interesting.
So we're gonna head over, Amy, because this one's your story.
Oh, me next. Okay.
Do you have your book?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
Right here. I'm gonna grab it. Okay. Let's take a nice walk through the cemetery. It's a beautiful day. We did not start this program with a weather report like we often do.
Well, who knows? On the day it plays, it might be raining.
That's true.
On the day that this is recorded. Oh, I do want to stop and show this one tombstone because I think it's very interesting what's written on it.
Okay. Which one?
So, Maggie May Hunton McCullough, Miss Georgia Nursing Home,
what?
1992.
Oh my gosh.
You go get it, Maggie May.
I would, you know what? That is goals right there.
It is.
Hashtag goals for me.
That's right.
I mean, I really want to be Miss Georgia Nursing Home. Preferably in like 40
years?
40? No,
40
not
years?
2040.
No, I mean 40 years.
2080.
Oh.
I want to live to be 100 and then be Miss Nursing Home.
Okay.
I think I could do it.
You can do it.
That's my goal, is to be Miss Georgia Nursing Home 2080.
Yes. Okay. That's a goal.
All right, good.
But you guys can see just behind it, obviously this cemetery does have, is active.
Yep, sure
so
is. Got a couple of active
we've had
ones.
a couple of them for sure.
Yes.
And it's got a great drive that circles around, so if you don't want to get out of your car, you don't have to. You can be able to drive and see, but I recommend getting out of your car and walking around.
Yeah, it's very nice. Some beautiful, what do you call the ones that stick up?
Tombstones?
No, well, they're not tombstones. The monuments. Monuments. That's what. As opposed to the tombstones.
As opposed to the flat markers.
Yes,
I understand that way.
Yeah, I was just looking at that one because that one's really pretty on the top. Look how that is.
Oh, it is pretty. Is that a
1912? Yeah.
McCravey. That's a good one.
Born 1836. All right.
Stop showing the ones I want to clean.
All right.
Oh, where are we going?
Isn't it over here?
It's right here. It's over this. It's that way.
Where? Oh, I don't know. I'm just wandering.
This is your story. You better know where we're going.
Yeah, well. Life is all about the journey, not the destination. That's how I say.
Well, in here it's all about the destination.
Okay. So, here we are. Here is the destination. George Exie Daniel died July 27th, 1970.
That's an interesting middle name.
It is. I don't know.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody else with that.
I don't know. And he's in the Gilbert plot because his wife was a Gilbert,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So,
well, hold on. Before we go into it, Daniel Brothers had a shop, because I was just doing research, on the west side of the square where DK Gallery is now. It was Hardy Studios in the past, so that's where his business was. For anybody who...
At one point, though, during a particular event, it was on North Park, I read. According to Steve Owen.
Oh, you mean pre-1920s?
Uh-huh.
That event?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to talk about that event? Because you
I
seem to know.
I do. So it was on North Park at one point early on. So,
Do you wanna-
all right, let's talk about George.
Hold on, I'm going to move everybody around. There we go.
Oh, Georgie Porgy, pudding and pie.
He was a little porgy.
I don't know. Well, we do have a picture of him. Let's show a picture. He did make people cry. Put it that way. Here is George Daniel. All right.
There you go.
Okay.
See? There you go.
Long-standing family of jewelers on the square. His story, aside from being a local, he's active in local businesses and organizations, Rotary Club. He was a jeweler, of course, as we've mentioned. During the teens, I know he was on North Park. I don't remember what year he opened his business.
I don't know.
We could look that
He had
up
a
probably.
band too, right?
He was in a band that went around, kind of a Dixie band,
Yeah.
ragtime, that he would go around to play before politician speeches and that sort of thing. He was active in a variety of ways. Also was one of the members of the infamous gang of men who kidnapped Leo Frank and from his prison in Milledgeville and brought him back up north to Marietta and hung him from a tree. Now, the Leo Frank trial and story and murder of Mary Fagan and then a murder of Leo Frank, we go into great detail. If you watch our videos, which are on Facebook and YouTube, Christa and I did a whole day of going after, I don't know how many stops we had that day, maybe 7 or 8 stops. Hitting up different sites in Atlanta where specific events pertaining to the trial of Leo Frank occurred. And we ended up in Marietta discussing his death. So that whole long story, and actually we really followed this book to a large extent. This is And the Dead Shall Rise by Steve Oney. And it's the murder of Mary Fagan and the lynching of Leo Frank.
Which was published about 20 years ago? Maybe a little bit less?
Yeah, I think so.
20?
Yeah, but it is a really great read. It's easy to read, but it's chock full of details.
That's like the definitive book.
Oh, the definitive. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many details, really digging deep into the lives of not only Mary Fagan and Leo Frank, but also all the players, which when you talk about Marietta history and Cobb County history, really, aside from Mary Fagan, who had family in Cobb County, Fair Oaks area, and is buried at our city cemetery, our real connection to the story comes in with the lynch mob. They were from Marietta. George Daniel was one of the, quote, officers within this unit of men who planned the whole thing, planned the kidnapping and lynching of Leo Frank. So they kind of had it broken down into tiers, starting with the highest level with former Governor Joseph E. Brown and some U.S. Congressman, Herbert Clay. We've talked about him before at the Clay House. And a variety of high-reaching politicians that they were kind of the masterminds behind this whole plan, and they also had the power and the pull with which to make sure no one got caught, and also no one was ever punished. So, because at the end of the day, they were also the judges, following up on the judges and on the investigation into it, all that.
Yeah, there was no real grand jury or anything like that.
They were making all the power plays there. So, anyways, George Daniel was kind of the second level, if you would, from that. More of like the higher upper middle class of Marietta, business level, business elite, if you will.
Hold on a second.
And so he was involved heavily with the logistics. He was pulling strings himself. He was involved in making sure the men who were doing the kidnapping had what they needed, let's say. And so he has a very strong presence in that. Now, in that event, he, along with all the rest, I think there were 24 of them maybe, men who were involved. None of them were ever convicted or punished in any way for kidnapping a prisoner from the state prison and then lynching him illegally or otherwise, regardless. And so The other part of George Daniels' history, which is unfortunate, is that after the lynching, if you're familiar at all with the KKK's history, a rebirth of sorts happened with the Ku Klux Klan not a few months after the Leo Frank lynching, where a group of men from all over Atlanta went and met up on Stone Mountain and reformed what they called the Knights of Mary Phagan, or formed it, I should say, rebirthing, I guess you could say, the KKK in our area. The local members who were a part of that, there were very many businessmen, some of the ones I've already mentioned, businessmen and politicians. George Daniel was one of those. So he was also a member of that, the rebirth. Also, from Steve Oney's book, it was mentioned by the daughter of one of the lynchers that a few months after the lynching, all of the members involved received a congratulatory gift of silverware from Daniel Jewelers. And she's, at the time of being interviewed, which is probably about 20-25 years ago, she said her family still had some of that. And so, George Daniel's one that it's important to recognize these people even after death. It's not a happy story, it's not a good story, but it's important to recognize it in him because he was never punished. And he never did pay for his crime, at least in this world. And so to remember that, to remember those who committed those heinous crimes is important in our history. History's not all pretty. History is very ugly, often, and we don't forget that. So that's the story of George Daniel. And next, I believe we are going to head over to a different sort of tragedy, but one with which we can take honor and pride. And we're going to talk about some veterans. So we'll be right back.
Okay, so where we left off, just an FYI, where Amy was at, I had to walk away, and I'm not this person, but that grave doesn't make me feel very good.
Let's also mention that this is our second time at the cemetery. Those of you who do not know, we've actually filmed this entire cemetery almost entirely once before. But when we were at the exact same spot with George Daniel, the last time, Christa got very sick and ill and had to stop. So we decided to stop filming, and that's why we're back today. And
I was feeling bad over there too, so I was like, and I'm not one of those sensitive people, but obviously there's something happening over there.
Something.
I don't know what's happening. Let me clean this because this is bothering me. Okay.
And now you're perfectly fine.
Yes, I'm perfectly fine because we're going to tell some veteran stories.
All right,
so,
let's do it.
Our military personnel.
Yes.
So right here, this is a military family plot.
Okay, we've got Jeffries. See if I can zoom in. Yep. Okay, with some beautiful flowers on top.
So we've got 7, am I counting that right? 7, 3 on this side, 4 on the other side. You have the father and the mother and then children here. This one's in particular, Private First Class Robert March. You guys can see it. It says Marine killed in action in Iwo Jima. I do actually have a picture if you'd like to see it.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me get this out. It's from the newspaper, so it's going to look a little off.
Oh,
look at that sweet
baby face.
Well, they're all baby face with the ones I'm talking about. So during World War II, the class of, actually right towards the end, class of 1945 at Smyrna School commissioned a bronze plaque. And it listed all the veterans or those who had served during World War II from Smyrna. And it included 6 men who had died in service. This cemetery has 4 of those 6 buried here. So we have Robert right here.
We don't know what happened to the plaque, right? Because the school...
currently we don't know, but maybe we'll have the answer when this is happening. But so he was killed in action in Iwo Jima. Obviously it says March 3rd, 1945. But his body, along with the body of another service member who was just down the pathway, did not come back home until 1948. Okay. So there was a whole story about the Marines returning in 1948. So I love whoever maintains this grave site. Bless you. It's beautiful. You've done a wonderful job. So they talk about his interment in 1948 and who came to be a part of the service. But it says at first he attended the Smyrna schools, and prior to entering the service, he was employed by the Western Union in Atlanta. He enlisted in the Marines, and it says January 1941.
Okay.
Which that can't be right based off of his birth dates.
25,
'Cause he would have been
35, 16. Not even.
Yeah, so it must
He
have
would
been a few years
15.
later.
He would have been 15 unless he lied about his age.
That's highly possible.
You know?
Or no, he might not have had to have lied about his age, and his parents allowed him to go.
Yeah.
The parents can sign
Yeah.
the consent for that.
And with his dad being in the Navy and a veteran,
yes.
actually also a World War II veteran.
Right, but we, that CM1, we decided it might have been more here because it was construction mechanic. Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he was obviously older.
Older.
The dad was born 1904, so he was in his 40s when the war started.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a teenage son who wants to join as well, and I could see him signing on.
Oh yeah,
with
for
that.
sure. If you want to walk over to the other ones, we can show the
Sure.
siblings as well.
So here we have James. Is it Jafaris?
I don't know. Jaffairs, maybe?
Jafaris. James, born in 1928, so he's a little bit younger than the first brother. Dies in 1962, a member of the American Legion. Then we have Jeannie Jafaris, born in 29, died recently in 2020, September 9th, 2020. Then we have George Daniel Jafaris, no relation to George Daniel we just visited. May 28th, 1934. So these are all younger siblings. And then dies in 1971. This guy is with the 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, so he was probably in Korea.
Korea, yeah.
And the Korean War, maybe a little bit into Vietnam. Annie Jean Jafaris.
That could be his spouse.
Could be a
versus
spouse.
sister, yeah.
Yeah, March 5th, 33 to 74. So, yeah, so that's who's here.
So just down the pathway is another one of the World War II.
You gonna walk down that way?
Yeah,
Okay.
World War II veterans who sacrificed his life for our freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, again, a local guy. So not the first one, but again, a military family.
Oh, this
So-
is the one I was thinking was World War One. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, so this is
so
the father.
Father's World War One, corporal in the 18th Infantry of Georgia Infantry. So that's Georgia National Guard.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got the son who was on the plaque that we mentioned earlier, right?
Yes.
Robert F. Johnson, January 13th, 1922 to October 26th, 1944.
So
He's got an interesting story,
he does.
right?
So he ends up not dying overseas, but in Reno, Nevada, from when 2 C-47 transport planes en route flights earlier, they end up colliding, killing all the crew members. Nobody was there to witness what happened. And so he ends up dying along with all of his crew members and everybody else in that other C-47. So that one still nonetheless tragic.
Wow.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So he's on that plaque. We have, where was the camp one? He was farther down, right? There was one more that we weren't able to find because, again, this cemetery is deceptively big. We're going to come back over here in just a second.
Wasn't?
Or did we? I mean, we could just walk around for the heck of it.
Yeah.
Were you noticing that?
Yes. I'm like, what is happening here? Why is this metal just over this? Interesting. Don't know. What's under the metal?
Well, you know what? I thought they were over here, but maybe they're not. I thought we saw camps over.
I don't think I saw a camp.
Did we not? Maybe it was on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, the other two that are buried here, which I can show you guys, we have Marion Taylor, who was a private, killed in the Battle of the Bulge in Belgium. So his story goes, 30, he was in the parachute infantry. He was a graduate of Smyrna High School and was employed at the time of his induction by the Little Farm of Miami, Florida. And for several years was the manager of Rogers Store in Smyrna. Now, when you see him listed, though, since he enlisted in Florida, he's technically a Florida enlistment, so he doesn't necessarily show up on all the Cobb County or the Georgia
Oh, sure.
death ones. He was quarterback of the Smyrna High School football team, and he was known as Stumpy. He received his infantry training at Camp Croft in South Carolina and was a paratrooper at, where were paratroopers trained?
Fort Benning?
Yes, there you go, good.
Took me a minute.
Took you a minute, but that's okay. So he is buried here as well, along with Private James Wesley Camp. So again, four of the 6 that had died in Smyrna, or from Smyrna, are buried in this cemetery during World War II. Let me find his story. Private James W. Camp, 19, was killed in action in the South Pacific, Guam specifically. The death came to the soldier exactly 14 months to the day of his entrance into the service of the Marines. And at that point, the parents had not gotten all of the information, and I still haven't found it, but he was one of the first delivery boys for the daily Marietta Journal.
Aww.
And will fondly be remembered by both his friends here and in Smyrna. He actually grew up like a few streets down south of us, where we're standing now. So all these, they probably all knew each other or knew a sibling or whatever like that.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
I mean, we're going to try and figure out where that plaque is, because Amy and I both want to see it.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's head back over this way just really quick, because some people might know this name.
Oh, yes. I believe they will.
I believe so, but let's see.
Here
He's right
we
here in the
are.
corner.
Check out the name. Open your memory banks. All the locals should recognize that name, even if you didn't go to school there. Wills High School, named after Francis T. Wills, February 27th, 1873 to January 25th, 1944.
So not only was he superintendent of Cobb County Schools right before Paul Sprayberry,
Okay.
he was a Smyrna city councilman in the 1920s, postmaster for Smyrna from 1944 to 1966.
Okay.
And the school, Wills actually merged with Campbell, and it just became Campbell. So
Right.
There's
a very strong Wills reunion group on Facebook, and a lot of the alumni stay in touch, which is great.
So it said that he died in his 71st year at a private sanitarium. I wonder if that was Bronner. But Bronner also had people who were ill, you could not just with mental health issues. But so principals of the schools in Cobb County system served as the pallbearers, and members of the Board of Education served as the honorary escort. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is nice.
But yeah, if we have any Wills alumni, I know 2, but I know there's more than that.
Yes.
So
And there's quite a number of Wills family members here.
there is a veteran here too.
That's going to be his wife, I'm thinking, Ida Lee.
Yes.
She died in 1959. Then daughter, Ida Elizabeth.
There's a name that needs to be brought back.
Ida.
Ida.
I know. Ida May. C. Trevin Will, beloved son of Ted and Barbara. I'm not sure.
There's Barbara. She's on the other side.
Here's Barbara. Barbara, wife of Ted. Yep, that would be it. 1939.
Careful.
Ted, son of Zealand and Mary.
Ted must have passed away recently
1945.
and hasn't had. Zealand's an interesting name.
Yeah, this
too.
does look like it's
Actually, hold on. It
newish. No.
must be this one. 2014.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why they haven't gone back and carved in it.
Newest. Then we've got Mary Wills, wife of Zealand, died in 2003, and Zealand, son of FT and Ida. So it all goes in full circle of family members.
Well, he's got 2 because he's got a military one as well.
Yeah, so that would be. So Zealand was
Their son.
FT Will's son. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. They had one son, I guess, and a daughter over here. Anyway.
So, one more story that we talked about way back when we did Collin Springs. And it was my fault. We were in Smyrna. I get confused when I'm in Smyrna. But the young couple, the high school sweethearts who died Thanksgiving evening in the 70s, which is some people actually do remember Randy Klein. and her name is over here. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's right
Let's
there with the
walk
little
over
hearts
here.
in the
It's a very sweet,
very sweet, sweet one.
sweet tombstone or monument, whatever we want to call them these days. Let's see.
It is that one, right? I thought it was that one.
Yes, it is. God is love. We've got 2 hearts for the lovebirds.
I think
And
it says...
Randy Charles Randall Klein died November 24th, 1977, and Mary Robin Wooten dies the same day. Both born in 1960. So something's scurrying in the woods over there.
Okay, yeah,
I
keep
think it's
talking
a
about
cat.
that.
I think it's a cat.
Oh, that's okay. Hey,
Yeah.
sweet kitty.
Okay, so what?
Cat's
Sorry.
totally freaking Amy out.
I know.
So the other thing we wanted to point out before we end this video is there actually is another cemetery across the street.
Yes.
Which it
Look at
is an
that.
African American cemetery. And it's, I believe, called Mount Zion. But we are going to go over there at another time and give everybody who's do our research and due diligence
Yes.
for that cemetery
And
as
there
well.
have been, as you can see, efforts to not only maintain but actually preserve this as a beautiful park area. Actually, I think they've added more since we've been here last, with a beautiful little walkway up there, and then into the wooded area is where a lot of the grave sites are. And then this fenced-in area here is what's left of a foundation and wall and stairs of the church that was associated with the cemetery. So yeah, so we are going to hit that up soon, as soon as we can get some good research on it.
Yes, because that one was not included in Sarah's journey because she clearly states in her book that she only went to white cemeteries.
Right. But we're not doing that.
No.
We're hitting up as many as we can, especially non-white.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us on this journey. If anybody is sensitive, please be aware by Georgetown.
telling ya.
There's something about that pot.
Krista is
that
becoming more and more sensitive as we go on.
maybe
in life.
it's because of his connections to Marietta. He doesn't like me.
I don't know why he wouldn't like me. Why would
Well,
he
you
like
felt
me?
fine. You felt fine.
I know.
I didn't.
I'm not very sensitive, so.
Well, that's because you haven't done a paranormal investigation. Yeah.
I have. Oh, are you kidding me?
No.
I
mean,
sat
one of
through
our.
plenty.
Sure.
They stay away from me.
But we will be back with another cemetery one soon. Hopefully another live one.
Yes.
Again,
Yes.
we're transitioning staff, so that's been a bit of a.
But we still have fun doing these, so we want to do it.
But yeah, so next time, I don't think we'll be in Smyrna anymore.
Until we come back to do this one later on.
That one's going to take a little bit more time. But
We got 4 other cities to really focus on that we haven't yet. Kennesaw. We did do one in Ackworth at their history center.
cemetery?
Not a cemetery, but
A video?
A video.
Oh,
we did a
fair
video.
enough. I thought you
I'm just
mean
talking
a
about the history in general.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
As far as our videos go.
Yes.
Powder Springs, we haven't done.
Haven't done
And who am I missing? Austell. Austell. We got to go down to Austell. And other communities, not quite official cities, like Mableton.
It was a city at one point.
Fair Oaks.
Fair Oaks was incorporated, but not a city. We've
did
done
one-
Elizabeth.
Yeah, we did Elizabeth.
We've done that one.
So yeah, so lots of other places to go in Cobb County. And we are willing to keep on going as long as you're willing to keep watching. And following on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the things.
Yes.
And
But if you can't watch us here, come and visit us.
yes, please
Come and
do.
visit us at the museum. We will see you guys next time, whether it's in live or a pre-recorded. But we're always there to answer questions, no matter what.
Yes, always watching.
That's creepy.
I know. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.